Morning.
Morning, Todd.
Morning.
You know, I know there's always going to be back and forth in a game, but the second period was obviously big for them. What do you guys need to do better, differently, so they don't control a game for such a length of time?
Well, the breaks between periods have hurt us throughout the series. We seem to get either rolling or and then we go in there and we have a break. They get a chance to regroup. They're a mature team. They come out and they reestablish. So we've got to find a way between periods to adjust and get back pushing. But I think in the two home games in particular, the emotional recovery in a game has been a little weaker on our behalf than I would like. And what I mean by that is they scored 25 seconds into game 3. And we didn't recover from that real quick. It took us half a game. They score the 4th goal, and we never did recover off of that. Last night, we're up by 2. We don't play particularly well for a short period. They get going. It takes us a long time to recover. So there's going to be ups and downs in a series. We're learning that. And the emotional recovery and the ability to get back on task has to happen a little bit quicker for our team. Because it's not going to be perfect. It won't be pretty, from now until however long we play. And those are just lessons we're learning.
Todd, Ryan Getzlaf killed you last night, obviously. Have you thought of moving Leon to center so you have a bigger center against Ryan Getzlaf?
Yep.
Is that something you see during the game and says, okay, as good as we are, and Connor is, and Nuge is, we just need some bigger center because they're smaller in the wings, bigger at center?
Yep.
When it comes, you had 3 bad breaks last night. One that could have been goaltender finish, one that could have been offside, one that could have been icing. How do you get the team to kind of forget or get away from that "woe was us" mentality? We kind of and then forget about it and flush it.
I think that's a little bit of the emotional recovery from either taking it on a chin or getting too high and that type of stuff. So I liked our group this morning. Our group came in and they had an energy and they were wide-eyed. I thought they'd be a little sleepy, a little bit down, but our group was good. We can't change what's happened in the past. There's going to be numerous calls that we don't think go our way and that Anaheim doesn't think goes their way. But you have to park it. You have to overcome that and start playing again. We can debate all we want. We can argue all we want. It doesn't change the fact that we're tied 2-2.
Randy seems to be using a couple of different strategies against you from a matchup standpoint. How much do your hands get tied in that chess match when you're being dominated in the face-off circle the way you are, just to try and get back?
That's pretty obvious. You win a draw, you get to control what happens in the shift. It's as simple as that. So you might get the players you want on the ice, you lose the draw, they have control, off they go, and double changes are tough to do, and it plays a factor.
The risk in getting too fancy with trying to get in or out of certain matchups, can you maybe just describe the decision a coach has to make weighing that off, the risk of messing with things too much and having no flow versus needing to?
Well, you'd always like to put your players in the best situation possible, and you want them to be in as often as they can be in situations where they think they have an edge. But to take them out of rhythm, to overplay and underplay guys, to try and get away from matches, I think it can be harmful as much as it helps. And, face-offs, again, dictate the outcome of the match. It's as simple as that. I think we had, if I'm correct, I think Leon, Connor, and Nuge won 7 face-offs yesterday. So the odds are they're going to get what they want. We can play through that. We have before. And we'll continue to do that.
Do you consider more of a hard match on Getzlaf moving forward, given the impact he's had?
Possibly.
Todd, how do you view the sequence in overtime when they scored? Were you bothered by perhaps a missed call on the icing, or were you disappointed at all maybe in the response from your defensemen as they're going back? Did you see any hesitation there?
Well, there's 2 parts to it. I was bothered and disappointed in the non-icing call. I'm not sure why it was waved off. Never did get an explanation. But when it's not waved off, there has to be, or pardon me, when it is waved off, there has to be a responsibility of the rest of the players to finish out the play, and we didn't have that. So there's two pieces, disappointed in both.
Todd, when it comes to home ice advantage in this series and in the playoffs in general, it doesn't seem like to be much of an advantage. Do you have a theory on maybe why home teams aren't getting as many wins?
I don't. I think that the teams are so evenly matched. The environments that teams play in throughout the year, the maturity of the teams that are in the playoffs right now. There's a lot of mature teams left. I think we'd be probably the only one that would be described, maybe Ottawa a little bit as the up-and-coming group. I think the mature teams are accustomed to it. It doesn't faze them at all to be on the road in front of the Orange Crush, if you will. But other than that, I don't have a theory.
Is that a good sign going into Game 5, knowing that you?
Well, it's a road series so far. So, but when you start looking for quirks like that, it doesn't work that way. You got to play. It's a separate event every night, and we got to play Game 5 better than we played Game 4.
Todd, were you able to gauge at all whether or not your club had parked Game 4 when they arrived at the rink this morning?
Yeah, they were. Our group was upbeat. They were fresh. There was no lips dragging on the ground. They're looking forward to getting down and playing Game 5. I didn't. You always carry a little bit of disappointment with you, which is okay. But I think it's out of our system already. We had a good crisp practice this morning, and we're ready to go.